Hi, my name is Natalie, and today I'm going to be talking about how I got into the Ivy League and other really great schools. So I just want to start off by saying that the Ivy League is definitely overhyped. You do not have to get into an Ivy League school to be successful or to get a good education. There's so many schools out there that are just as good as schools in the Ivy League, if not better. But I got into one of them. I'm going to be talking about my stats, my classes, my GPA, my extracurriculars, and basically me as an applicant, and what I think got me into these schools. So I'm actually going to start off by saying the schools I applied to and the schools I got into. So if I know how to insert a screen, I'll insert it right now. But basically I applied to 15 schools. I got rejected from 3 of them, which were Vanderbilt, Columbia, and Cornell. And I got waitlisted from 2. So I got waitlisted from Boston University and from Duke. And I got accepted into the other ones. So the main schools I was considering attending were Brown University, which was my dream school. If you saw my last video, I applied early decision to Brown. And I was also considering USC, which I got a full scholarship to, and Carnegie Mellon was like on the back burner. So I really liked watching these videos throughout my college application process to get a better idea on how I was as an applicant and what my chances were on getting into the schools I wanted. So starting off with stats, my SAT was a 1430. I got a 700 in math and a 730 in reading and writing, and that's not a great score. But that comes to show that SAT is not everything. Colleges are taking a more holistic approach to viewing your application, and they want to see you as a person and not just a number. So if your SAT score isn't the greatest, if you don't have a 1600, do not worry. I did not have the greatest score at all, and I still got into these really great schools. So take that into account, but also study for your SAT. If I were to go back in time, I would definitely study more for mine because I didn't study at all, and I think I would have gotten a better score, but here I am. So as for my subject test, I took the SAT subject Math Level 2 and Spanish, and I got a 730 on math and an 800 in Spanish. So moving on to the classes I took in high school, I took a total of 11 AP classes. So my freshman year, I took AP World History. My sophomore year, I took Spanish Language, US Government and Politics, European History, AP Literature, AP Physics 1, and AP Calculus AB. And in 11th grade, I took 3 AP classes. I took APUSH, Microeconomics, and Macroeconomics. And right now, my senior year, I'm taking Calculus BC. I was also an IB student, so in addition to my AP classes, I also took 4 higher level courses, which were biology, history, English, and Spanish. And my 2 SL courses were math and psychology. So I definitely took a more rigorous set of classes throughout my high school career. And that does not mean that you need to take every single AP that your school offers. Definitely take more rigorous classes than non-rigorous classes that your school offers. But with that being said, don't take more than you can handle. You know your own limits, and colleges want to see you take classes that you're genuinely interested in and not just classes that other students at your school are taking. Moving on to my GPA, my unweighted GPA was a 3.96. So that means I got 1 B throughout my high school career and the rest A's. And my weighted GPA was a 5.4, but I don't know if that's much help because every school calculates their GPA differently, and the colleges you're applying to are going to recalculate your GPA anyways. So moving on to my background as an applicant and my extracurriculars, I applied as a neuroscience major to almost all the schools I applied to, and I showed a strong emphasis on wanting to take the pre-med track as well. I was very interested in neuroscience and specifically Alzheimer's research, and I made sure to focus the majority of my application on that. So discussing the main extracurriculars that I put on my application, I was president of my school's Psychology Honor Society, and I used that platform to advocate for mental health awareness and Alzheimer's disease, which I was very passionate about. So after my grandmother passed away from Alzheimer's, I tried to convert my grief into initiative, and I started a campaign which I called the Never Forgotten campaign. And that was basically partnered with the Alzheimer's Association in efforts to raise donations and fund further research. So I used my position in the Psychology Honor Society to incorporate this event through the school. So I included advocacy for Alzheimer's disease, as well as different ways to help out and donate. And I was also able to get a large portion of the club and other student organizations to come out to our local Alzheimer's walk. And it was very rewarding to see something that I'm very passionate about come to life. My summer before senior year, I also did a summer research program at Boston University. It's called the Research in Science and Engineering program, and that was focused on computational neurobiology. So I learned how to code, and so I learned how programming and neurobiology could be intertwined, and I did my final research project on modeling the development and progression of Alzheimer's disease in the brain using different codes to simulate how single neurons and networks of neuron function in the brain of a patient that has Alzheimer's disease through the different stages of their disease progression. The summer before my junior year, I did a neurology camp at the University of Miami Medical School. So summers are very valuable, and you can definitely portray your interests and passions by taking initiative in your community and focusing your time on things that you are interested in as opposed to just staying at home. So definitely take summer as a way to learn more, to travel, and to gain new experiences. I was also vice president of Mu Alpha Theta, which is my school's math honor society, and I was part of that club throughout my entire high school career, and I definitely show my passion for that club as well. So what do I think got me into these schools? I definitely think my essays were very authentic, personal, and passionate, and it demonstrated who I was as a person, and weren't things I just made up in efforts to try and fit a certain mold. So definitely have original and creative essays. You do not have to overthink it. Just write about what comes naturally to you, and show what you're passionate about. I'm also a minority, so I'm a Hispanic first-generation student, so that might have helped my chances a little, but that's definitely not the main reason that I got in. I did work hard throughout my high school career. I definitely think that I showed passion throughout my essays and extracurriculars, and I spoke about things that were meaningful to me. With that being said, definitely research the schools that you're applying to before writing their essays. They want to see how you would be a good fit in their environment. So I made sure to talk about certain professors and classes that I was interested in taking as well in these certain schools. You definitely want to portray yourself as being a fit applicant to their mosaic of students that they're trying to find. Luck is also quite a big factor in these college admissions. While your application as a whole is very important and very valuable, and these admissions officers want to see what you accomplish and what motivates you, it does come down to one or two admissions officers reading your application, and maybe they're in a good or bad mood that day. Maybe they have certain biases to things you mentioned. So if you didn't get into a certain school that you wanted to, don't be discouraged. Schools are trying to find people that fit into their mosaic of students. So you're definitely being handpicked into these certain schools, and wherever you end up, you're going to be where you're meant to be. I'm a firm believer of that. Thank you so much for watching. I think that's all I'm going to mention in this video. If you have any other specific questions about my application or about advice that you might want, definitely feel free to DM me on Instagram or comment below. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, and subscribe for future videos.